Hey guys, I'm working on a 2006 GMC Sierra 2500 with the LBZ Duramax diesel. Going to show you how to replace the fuel filter housing. And this procedure should pretty much work for the 2001 all the way up to 2016 Duramax diesels. So this truck came in for a crank no start issue, but it was only happening when it was really hot outside or he was pulling a heavy load. He'd stop to get some food or something like that, come back out to the truck, and then it would be a crank no start issue. The only way he could get it to fire up is if he primed the fuel filter head here, and then it would be just fine. So this is a common issue on these trucks, especially now with this truck being 20 years old and it still has the original factory fuel filter head there. So what happens is over time the internal seals that are inside of this filter head here start to go bad, and you won't really see when they're going bad because you're not going to be leaking any fuel or anything like that. It's just going to be all internal, and this runs off of a vacuum. So once those seals start to go bad, then you lose your vacuum, and that's when you start having your crank no start issues. So I'm going to be replacing this whole filter head here. So you can see I got this from dmaxstore.com. This particular head is going to fit the 2004 to 2010 Duramax diesels, and this one still has the heater wire built into it because I live in a colder climate here in Colorado, so it's probably going to be pretty handy to keep that heater built in there. Now they do make one that fits the 2001 to 2016 Duramaxes, and it has the heater wire delete, so I'll put a link in the description for that one as well. And then I also got the new water separator sensor here. Just might as well replace that while I'm in there. And then I also got this filter head spacer. So it has this little bracket here, and it's going to push the fuel filter away from the motor heat just a little bit to maybe help with some of that crank no start issue when it gets hot as well. And then also a brand new Parker fuel filter / water separator here. So let's get started. So like I said, this is a 2006, so this is going to be the LBZ Duramax. So there's going to be just a few things that are different on all the models from 2001 all the way up to 2016. As you can see, the LBZ isn't that hard to get to here, but it's probably going to help if I just remove this air intake tube here just to give us a little more room. So let's do that. So I'm just going to loosen up this hose clamp here and then this one up here with a 8mm nut driver. And then I'll just pop this off. So the first thing we're going to need to do is disconnect both of our electrical connectors for a water separator and then also our heater. So what you want to do for your water separator, you're going to have this little tab right here. You're going to just squeeze on that tab and then just pull this apart. So you can see how that kind of comes off of there. Now for your fuel heater, this one here is a little bit more tricky. I like to use a pick, because what you're going to do is you're going to get your pick here, lift up on this little tab. So just get underneath this tab here and then just separate this just like that. Next, I'm just going to take a pair of pliers. I'm going to slide these hose clamps down on these two fuel lines here. That way you can pop off both of these lines. So just a pair of pliers. See if I can open this up enough to kind of just slide this downward like that, and then the same thing on this lower one here. And this dipstick kind of gets in the way here. So just slide those down just enough to where you can slide these off of here. Now you may want to just grab a rag just in case you spill some fuel here, because we need to slide these off. So you can try and remove these by hand. They might be kind of stuck on there. You can use a pair of pliers, pick, whatever you want to use. I'm just going to use this pair of pliers here and just press down. Hopefully that releases it. There we go. So pop that off. You can see there is some fuel that'll spill out. And I'm just trying to probably actually just leave it like that. It's not going to spill anymore. And then the same thing on this one. Pop that one off of there. There we go. I'll just tuck this up by the dipstick tube here. That shouldn't make a mess. Next, you want to grab a 12mm, and we're going to undo these two bolts right here. So I like to just use a ratcheting wrench here. And then just break these free and get them pulled out of here. And this flex head ratcheting wrench works the best on these. And then just watch out as you start to pull this off, because this whole filter housing is going to want to start to come off of here. So I like to just kind of get one out and then do the other one just by hand. So get those kind of close and then just twist these out by hand. So there's one. And it looks like my camera's falling on me here. This one's just kind of hard to get your fingers in here. And pull this one out. Okay, so then you should be able to remove your filter housing with the filter and everything attached. So what you want to do next, if you didn't buy a new water and fuel sensor here, you're going to want to reuse your old one. And to get that off, what you're going to do is just take a pair of channel locks here, and then you're just going to twist this off, and this just unscrews from the bottom of the filter there. But I'm glad that I did purchase a new one, because I don't know if you guys can see, but you can see there's a little slit in this wire, and you can see some of the copper exposed on this. So I'm glad I did buy a new one. Now, Duramax store does sell just plugs if you guys want to just stick a plug in there, and that just disables the water and fuel sensor there. You just got to make sure that you drain that once in a while, just in case you do have water in your fuel. But what's nice about the sensor is it'll let you know when you have water in your fuel and you need to drain that. But since I did buy a new water and fuel sensor, you can see it does already come with a new O-ring on here. And this filter that I got does come with a new one as well. So I'll just save this just in case one of these were to ever leak or something like that. But what I like to do is just take a cap of some fresh motor oil here, and then I just like to rub this onto the O-ring here, just so that doesn't screw on there dry. Just lubricate that a little bit. You can also use diesel fuel if you want to. And then what we're going to do is just slide this into, or screw this into the bottom of your filter here. So just get that started in there and screw that in. Let's get that nice and tight. And then I just like to go just a little more with the channel locks here. You don't want to go too tight, because that's why there's an O-ring on there. So just get that nice and snug and you'll be all right. So about like that. And then you're going to want to take your new larger O-ring here. Same thing. I'm just going to grab some oil here. Just make sure this is nice and lubed before I put it on. And again, you can use diesel fuel if you want to on this. Get my gloves wiped off here. And now you're going to take your new filter. You're just going to put this along the outside. So make sure this sits kind of in the groove along the outside here. Just get that set into place like that. And then I like to just take a little bit of this oil as well, and I like to just rub the inside of this O-ring on the filter here, because that's going to slide up into the housing there. Just want to make sure there's no friction on that one. So then take your new fuel filter head and just make sure that is sitting like it should, that O-ring. And this is what I was talking about, where it kind of slides on to the filter head here. So you got to kind of press down a little bit and then just start screwing this on. Again, just double check and make sure that O-ring isn't moving on you, and it's going to sit on there perfectly. And then you want to just get this hand tight. And I got oil on my glove, so it's kind of hard. So just get that nice and hand tight. Just like that. So now let's get the new filter head into place here. But again, I'll be using this spacer here, which is going to go in between there just to bring that out a little bit. So here's the factory bolts. So you can see they do provide you with some new longer ones there to compensate for this spacer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this into position here. I'm just going to get the screws or these bolts into place, and then I'll put the spacer in last there. So just get this fed up into here, and I'll just get these kind of started for right now. Just get a few threads into each one of these. And then what I'll do is I'll just drop this spacer into place. So got a few threads started. And then I'll put it to where the Duramax store is on facing this way. So I'll just drop that onto there. And then I'll just get these kind of finger tight. And then I'll get my wrench out here. And as you guys are tightening these up, just kind of hold up on the filter housing there, just to kind of make it a little bit easier as you're screwing these in. I'll just go till I can't really turn it anymore with my finger. And these new bolts are going to be a 13 millimeter as opposed to a 12 meter like the factory ones. So let's just get these snug. I'm going to hold this with my thumb as well as I'm tightening this. And then I'm just going to get these nice and snug. Now we can get our fuel lines put back into place. Just make sure you didn't get these mixed up. But as you can see, they're it's kind of hard to do that just because of the way they're formed. So I'm going to get this one on first. Slide that up. And this one does have a cap on here. Remove that cap. Same thing, slide that one on. Then you can take your pliers and let's get these hose clamps back into place. And I like to just get these exactly where they were before, so you can kind of see an indentation on the hose. That way it just kind of seals it perfectly and you won't have any leaks, just because it kind of makes an indentation over time into these fuel lines. So if you just get this wiggled on and then you just drop this into the same spot where it was, you shouldn't have any leaks. Same thing on this one. For some reason that one just doesn't want to open up all the way. Let me try a different pair of pliers. It's just kind of hard at that angle there, and these ones might not be wide enough. There we go. So just drop that into place like that. And then of course plug in your heater and also your water sensor here. Just gonna bring this around. And then your water sensor here. And it looks like that rubber boot was starting to come out. It should still plug in here. Get that plugged in like that. I'm just gonna bring this zip tie that was on here, bring that back around, just kind of over this if I can. Yeah, it should be okay. I'm just going to do that. Now we can get our intake hose put back on here. So get those slid on. And tighten up those hose clamps. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pump this prime bulb until it becomes firm. So just continue to press down on this until it becomes pretty firm, like that. And then I'm going to take a rag here. Just want to make sure we get all the air out of here. So I'm going to take this rag, just wrap it around this black bleeder screw right here, just because we want to see fuel come out of here, and you don't want to make a huge mess on your new part here. So I'm just going to wrap it around like that. Take a flathead screwdriver, just loosen up this bleeder bulb, and you can hear that air come out of there. And then I'm just going to give this a pump, make sure we got fuel coming out of here. There we go. Once you see fuel, just tighten that up. And you don't want to go too tight on that because that's just a plastic bleeder screw, but there is an O-ring on there, so just let the O-ring do its work. So just don't get that too tight. Wipe up any excess fuel here. Now you can come inside the truck here, and let's go ahead and start it. Fired right up. And then with it running, you just want to check for any leaks, especially around your fuel lines here, and then down below. That all looks good. And then you can shut it off. And then just one more time, double check, make sure you're not leaking any fuel at your fuel lines or your water sensor down there, and then also your bleeder screw. And this all looks good. All right, guys, so that's all there is to it. And this should solve the issue of the crank no start this truck was having, especially when it was hot out. And it's a really simple job to do. It takes you maybe 15-20 minutes at the most to get this job done. So again, this was a 2006 GMC Sierra with the LBZ Duramax diesel. But again, this procedure will work all the way from 2001 up to 2016 Duramax diesels. And again, check out my description there. I'll have links to all the parts and tools that I used in this video. And I'm hoping that this video helps you out. If it does, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.